All right, and at 6:06 in the morning here in beautiful and warm Utah, we start session 363 of Tesos and Wi-Fi. Today is Monday, August 3rd, and we are bringing this session to you as part of the Wireless LAN Professionals Wi-Fi Design class. Yes, Glenn, this is the class we had years ago. We've been, I don't know, doing several sessions. We started in Spanish, just teaching for free. I had to train some people and said, why not just record it and upload it for free? It's this same class, but the difference is this one is 100% free, no charge. We're not charging in Colombian pesos or dollars or euros, nothing. You pay zero, nada. And we have pretty diverse class today, people from all over the place, people I've met before in class, people I've met at WLPC, a Wireless LAN Professional Conference, and people I don't even know. Thank you for coming. I sent the invite. People showed up. Thank you for being here. I know you have no obligation to be here, but it's fun to come and learn. All right, so we not gonna waste any time. We, for those of you that come here for the first time, we have been teaching sessions as we can. We paused for a while because I was traveling and didn't have time. But now, hey, now I'm back at the man cave. Now we started with just basics of Wi-Fi, talking about the IEEE, doing like a crash course on CWNA. We've been talking about waves. We've been talking about amplitude. We've talking about free space path loss and all of these calculations that are needed. And now this is where the rubber meets the road. Now we're going to learn how is it that we're going to use all that knowledge about waves and about Wi-Fi, how is it that Wi-Fi works, to do designs. How is it that we're going to do a predictive design? And for instance, they give you a floor plan and then they're going to ask you like, hey, how many APs do I need to have Wi-Fi in this building? Or where should I place the access points in this building? We talked about the life cycle of a project in one of our previous sessions. And in that class, that's when we were just entering from the lecture portion of the class into, okay, how do we apply this to real life? Well, we need Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is everywhere, in hospitals, in airports, in schools, universities, everybody wants Wi-Fi. So big part of that is the definition of the project. Definition, if you haven't watched that session of the life cycle of a project, yeah, it'll probably be easier if you go back and watch it. That was session. Let me just go back, share my screen here. Let me know when my screen is in your screen. You're doing good. Let me move this guy over here. Let me move your beautiful faces over to my other screen. Hey guys, thanks for having your cameras on. And those of you who don't, just go ahead, turn it on, man. Show me beautiful faces. That way I don't feel so lonely. Here we go, it looks better. Now, Sebastian, you're driving. Be careful, don't crash. Hey, Harpreet. That's good, yes. Good to see all your beautiful faces. Thanks for sharing. Now, let me bring my Hamina window in here. I'll just bring this guy. Yeah, I know. It's still here. This is the thumbnail I use for the screenshot. And there we go. It's kind of small. 1 second. I guess this works. All right. Let me missing something here. There we go. Just make this window fit just right. So you have Hamina in your window. So Glenn, what are you doing these days? Last time we were in class, we were learning about Ekahau, huh? Is that what you're using nowadays?
Yep. Still yeah, using it day to day and selling it. Obviously we're not blind to what's happening, so we started looking at Hamina the moment it arrived. Personally had some issues with the first trials that I did with it, but that was really at the beginning. Saw UC again a few weeks ago, talked a bit about it, and wanted to give it another go. And then I saw this option passing by, so I'm curious to see where it evolved. And obviously, I've seen the things that they've done and UC's posts, etc. But I'm mainly evaluating how it could be worth our while to start using Hamina as well next to Ekahau. If it makes my life easier, then the better. And personally, I think it might be more on the design phase rather than the survey side, because I still fancy the sidekick over the clip or the nomad, mainly due to the spectrum analysis part. But yeah, that's a bit where we are at the moment, and in how both solutions basically fit in our portfolio.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. And this is one of the reasons why I have decided to teach this class, is to give people access to the knowledge about other tools out there. Jono, we're going to meet in Manchester during the troubleshooting class. We use all tools. The thing with Ekahau, yes, it used to be number one. It used to be that tool for Wi-Fi design. Things have changed. You know, the guys that made Ekahau grade ones, they're now making other tools. All these guys split, and some guys started Ceros. And guess what? We're going to learn about Ceros later. We're going to have another class on how to design with Ceros. And now we are doing Hamina. We're going to start today with that. I'm going to get you licenses. Also, so the Hamina guys, I told them, hey, I'm teaching this class for free. I have people from all over the world. Like you can see today, we got people from Denmark, from Norway, from Italia, from the UK, from Canada, from, I don't know, Colombia. I know that Johan is from Colombia, and I have people from all over the place, from New York and many other places. And this is great. And the best part, this class is being recorded. So if you have friends that later you want to share around and teach them, we record and upload these classes to a site called the Wi-Fi-things.com. I started this group of guys and started meeting on Fridays after when COVID. I started calling a friend and just chit-chatting about stuff. And we are on session 363. So these classes, if you go to the Wi-Fi-things.com and click on the WLANPros Wi-Fi design class, that has the compilation of the ones we have done in English. As you can see, we started, talking about the IEEE, and we started, let me just look at older posts, and we have uploaded everything. So this is a great resource also if you have interns, if you're at a company and you bring in junior engineers, or if you have, senior guys that have been working on servers and switching and routing, now you want to get them into the Wi-Fi world. That class that many of you have sat down with me is here, recorded. You can just direct them and say, hey, go watch these videos, get trained, and that way you don't have to train them. All the CWNA stuff and all they need to know for designing Wi-Fi networks is right there at their own pace. And yes, we have it in Spanish, we have it in English, we have all those sessions recorded and uploaded. This one is also going to be uploaded to this site, and it's there. You can just learn about it. And this is the main reason why, Glenn, I'm doing this, is all of those that I train in Ekahau now have the chance to learn about Hamina. And then later you'll learn about Ceros. And then later you'll learn about a tool called WLANPros. That's another tool that is used for kind of like same thing, Wi-Fi design. And then later we're going to do surveys. Yes, we're going to be more limited in what we can do, because some of these tools, you have to have a device. You have to have the Ceros wave. You have to have the Nomad or the Clip or one of those devices. And then, but I'll show you, because everything we're going to cover today about design applies to all the tools. So the Hamina guy said, yes, we'll give you licenses. I'll give you licenses in a little bit. The Ceros guy said, yes, we'll give you free licenses for your students to learn. And the WLANPros guys, they say, yes, we'll give you licenses. How many do you need? We'll give you, 30 days of free use of the tool. And yes, they were open to help with the community and help you guys have a license. Ekahau said, no, we don't give free licenses to nobody. And they deactivated my account. So we'll still learn about Ekahau. Don't worry. I will teach you. If you don't know about Ekahau, I'll teach you how to design with Ekahau. And then no more blah, 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 blah. Let's get to it. You have created not Ekahau, a Hamina account. We're going to learn how to do everything we're seeing here on the screen, how to do this design. This is so much easier to explain to a customer, what this is all about. Like, for instance, this design that we're looking at in here, that is a design for a big convention center for an event that we did just the last couple of weeks. We were in Canada doing this in Toronto. Let's see if I have some pictures around here where we can look at this. Just go to the map and let's go to Toronto. There we go. So this place we're looking at is this place. So we were designing the Wi-Fi for this event. So everything that we are seeing on the predictive design, all this stuff you see here, see all those obstacles and these constructions and those rings up high are these things. See this area here? So we have to simulate this space. So if you see those trusses up there, that's these trusses over here. See those? Just bring these guys over there and over here. Those trusses, the columns with access points, just move this guy over here. Those columns, they have access points. Those columns are these columns. See the access points there? 4 on each column. So you get floor plans and we're going to simulate the environment. Walid, I have a question. Go ahead.
I think some of us have issues to see your screen.
You're not seeing my screen, huh? Because you went somewhere else and now my screen is in the background. See what happens when you're not paying attention to what I'm saying? Here, let me stop sharing. Here, watch. I'll stop sharing. I'll share again, and then my screen will be on the forefront of your screen. So let me share again. I run the screen. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Can see it now. Thank you. Yeah, I can see it now.
Stay there, because if you go somewhere else, then you lose me. But I'll share again, not a problem. So this is the simulated environment. See, I simulated the columns with the access points, and just come over here. This is the real environment. So I have to simulate the trusses and these video screens and then these obstacles, these areas and the columns. All that stuff is simulated in here. But it's just easier to explain and to visualize this stuff because, yes, when you are not on site, then you have to simulate all this in your environment. See all those screens out there? Those are those screens. The stage, all that stuff is simulated. So we're going to learn how to do this using Hamina Wireless. So once you log in, you're going to have something like this. Let me just create a project and I will show you then where to add a license because I'll get you a license. Let's make sure I have enough licenses. Yes, I do. And if more people show up, I'll just contact the Hamina guys and they'll just give us more licenses. I mean, there's not going to be like a year or 2-year license. Nah, it's only 30 days. But hey, it's 30 days of full Hamina Planner Plus license. So let's call this project Free Wi-Fi Today. With the account you created, you can create projects, okay? There's going to be some limitations. So if you have not created an account in Hamina, go into hamina.com. Let me actually sign out. Well, actually, let me just bring it in a different window in here. Let's bring this guy over here. And let's go to hamina.com. So if you have not created an account, go to a free trial, create an account. Once you go to login, then you type your username and password for the account you created. Notice it has United States and European Union. The accounts I'm going to give you today, they are for the US. Since this is a class and you're just learning about the tool, you can use these United States accounts, okay? But if you are thinking of buying Hamina, then once, depending if you are in the European Union, then you will create one in your area. Like, you know, Glenn and you guys in Europe, then you'll use an instance for the European Union. I think this is for all the GDRP, right? GDPR? GDPR, okay, here we go. For the data protection stuff, then you'll use the European Union instance. If you create an account in one of them, let's see, Joel from Hamina now replied, because I asked him that question, he said, you know, what would be the problem? And he said, US licenses work in the US instance. EU licenses work in the EU instance. If they make a Hamina account in one place, they will automatically have an account in the other instance. If the purpose is just learning, then there is really no harm in them just using the US instance. Explain real quick that the two instances are separate, and projects or sharing projects don't work between them. So if you have an account with an EU instance, you cannot share with somebody that has entered the United States instance, just to keep them separated. All right, now let me go back to this guy. Once you're here, you can't, because I just created a project and I called it pre-Wi-Fi today. This is the window that you'll see if this is the first time you're logging in. Then you will create, you will add floor plans. I can either add floor plans in here, or I can just drag them and drop them, or I can just click and then choose the floor plans. Let me share with you this folder called floor plans. I see there's a warehouse JPEG. There is a hockey arena. Hey, we're going to learn how to do a stadium. And then there's another little warehouse, an almacén, storage. And there is office, floor 1, floor 2, and floor 3. Notice that it changes, slightly. This is what's called a hole in the floor, an atrium. Today, we're going to get started, go about an hour and see how far we get into the design process. And then we will continue tomorrow, okay? I will share with you guys in the chat all of these floor plans. Let me, right now, go my chat. Where's the chat? I'm looking for my chat window, got lost in here. There we go. Now, let me share all of these floor plans with you. File, your computer, maps. And let me open these files. In the chat window, I placed all of these files. The warehouse, just bring this in here. Not you, this is not what I wanted to add. Let me just go back and, okay, let's delete this floor. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do, let me first make sure that all of you have the floor plans, can download them. Let me know when you have the floor plans. And in a little bit, I will share the license, the key code with you so you can do everything. Because the trial version, you can use limited features of Hamina WLANPros. Do you have the files? Got the JPEGs and these guys? All right, perfect. So first thing, you create a project. Go to that portion there and then add new project, give it a name. And once you create it, just come here where it says drag and drop maps and either drag one of the floor plans there or click. And the first one we're going to open is this one called Office Floor 01. I'm going to click on just that one map and open it. It uploads PDFs, JPEGs, AutoCAD files. It imports all kinds of images. I don't know if this is a good idea to start with Hamina first, because that's the easiest. That's the, I don't know. Let's just get going. Let me just show you this really quick. This is first time I bring this floor plan in here. And it has just drawn every wall and door and window for me in there. All right. That's it. That's how you design Wi-Fi with Hamina. I'm done. Thanks for coming. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow at 6. It's amazing how fast this is. Just adding all the walls and doors and windows in other tools will take a long time. This is it. Now, guess what, Glenn? We're ready to start dropping access points everywhere. Not much to it, huh? Now, not all projects work as easy as this, but these guys have done a great job with AI in order to get to this point. I've done like that big project that I was showing in the screen a little bit ago, that big convention center. Yeah, it added most of the walls and stuff, and then I had to go and add some of these custom things to it. All the obstacles, the screens hanging from the ceiling, and all the stuff were added. But this is basically what we need for design. So let's see how we will get to this part. Let me go back to, yeah, go ahead.
It's a long time since I've used Hamina. Last time I used the auto wall, it created all the desks and all the other drawings as walls. Is this an improvement they've done to stop it picking up all those extra things, or is your file got layers and things in it that it was able to detect?
Mine is not the this floor plan is probably, I mean, this was one that the guys from Tesos provided, and I modified in multiple ways and added rooms and added the hole in the floor and made multiple floors to teach different concepts. So, yeah. And also when you're creating a new project, let me just see there, notice that there is the environment. I left it at office.
Yeah.
You can also choose, airport convention.
I'm just wondering whether they've got some better AI detection for furniture, because I had to then go in and delete all the tables and plants that it turned into walls. Does that make sense? So your tables there are just showing us still on the floor plan. But last time I used the auto wall in Hamina, it turned all the tables into a wall, which wasn't very helpful.
Renee, you seem to be muted.
He disappeared on us.
Batteries.
Oh, has he gone? We've lost him. Oh,
I'm back. There we go. All right, let me see. Looks like Alex asked for us for floor plans, and somebody, Johan, thank you for sharing it with Alex. Thank you. Saur, looks like you need floor plans. Johan will pass them on to you. So once you choose this in here, I think the AI model will be like, oh, this is a warehouse. Then it finds patterns that the
that's helpful to know.
and
Good.
the
That's an
and all
improvement.
the shelves and racks, so it will detect those. It's amazing. I've done like warehouses really quick because it just finds those. So
yeah,
there's a good start. So in this case, we have just looked at this floor plan. It didn't add any of this. We will show you how to get to this point and add the ladders, the stairs, and the incline areas. All that stuff we're gonna add in here real quick. So let me go back. All I did was just add the floor plan, and that's it. That's the only thing. I'm gonna stop and have you all guys get to this point. Make sure you create the project and bring in the floor plan, and I'll share with you the license that you're gonna be using to create projects. Now, this is not a limited license. This is a full-blown Hamina Planner Plus license. Or I think they are for, oh, I don't know. Let me just look at subscriptions. So once you're in, on the upper right corner over here, you see where your name and email is for the account. If you click there, there is preferences. Let's just start there. In here, I can set up if I'm going to use meters or feet as the unit, if I'm going to use dBMs or milliwatts for the units of power. Some vendors, they write all the documentation that we recommend to configure these access points at 14 dBm, or client devices say, like, for this device to work, you need this many dBms of power. And then others will use milliwatts. Then we have internal pattern viewer, the antennas. I'll show you that in a second. And then the quality of the graphics and transparency effects, all those can be set up in here. If you have multiple people in your team, this is where you add people to a team, and then you can just manage that stuff from here. Let me go to subscriptions, but you can get to subscriptions also here. If you click there and you go to subscriptions, here is, I have Hamina Planner Plus. This is to do designs. And then I have another for Hamina On-Site. Hamina On-Site, that is the license we're going to need later when we get to surveying, to do surveys. So I have some licenses that are good till August 29. So today's August 3rd. So you have like 26 days of this license. Let me come over here and share with you. I'm going to paste it on the chat, copy license keys. I'm going to paste this on the chat. Now, this is for you guys. I'm not going to post this online because the license key is for those who come here and show you beautiful faces. If you're not here and you're watching this video later, sorry, you don't get a license key for Hamina. Let me paste this in the chat. Get ready, get set. Okay, that license code I pasted on the chat. If you go to your Hamina account and go to subscriptions, see up here where it says use license key. If I click on use license key, you paste that code that I pasted on the chat, paste it in here and activate. Now you're going to have a Hamina Network Planner Plus license that is good till August 29, 2026. Let me make sure that that works.
Did you say that we could use one account for both the EU and the US?
Yeah, just pick. I mean, if you went into the US, this is a US instance account. So when you're logging in, you can choose what instance you're going to use.
It won't load it if I log into the EU one and the US one using my credentials.
Okay. And it activated the account, okay?
It did for me. I can just log out of the EU instance and logged into the US instance, and it didn't complain.
I'll try again. I blame my computer.
Yeah.
It's obsessed with logging me into the EU one.
Blame the Wi-Fi, Jono. Blame it on the Wi-Fi.
I completely will blame the Wi-Fi because it's always the Wi-Fi.
It's always the Wi-Fi. All right, works in Canada. Thank you. Ned works in the US. Where in the US are you from, Ned?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. From Atlanta, Georgia. There we go. Let me make sure. Okay.
Oh, it worked the second time.
Ah, okay.
Must have been the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it must have been the Wi-Fi. Rafael works in the UK. Great. Mauro, Italia working? No, not working. Going to the
No,
US.
it's not working. Maybe I needed to recreate a USA instance.
Yeah, just log out, and when you log back in, it will ask you like what instance. Just log in using the US.
Yeah. Because I already.
Perfect. Walid, Canada. Simon works in Australia. Nice. Beautiful. Okay. Everybody got a Hamina working, Hamina instance, US instance working? Okay. Once you have the floor plan, notice this. Automatically worked in Denmark. Perfect. Notice here on the lower right corner, there is, oh, it doesn't zoom in the whole thing. Hang on. Because I realized that when I zoom in the screen, it doesn't zoom in your screen. So lower right corner, see where it says 5 meters and it's got those wiggly lines? That's the scale. I never said the scale, but Hamina has this feature that it will kind of like guess automatically what the scale is. First thing we're gonna do with the project, any project, is you have to give it a scale. Notice here to the left, there is a line of buttons. We're gonna be using all of those buttons. The first one, automatically you get dropped there on the edit tool. The edit tool is just the arrow. It allows you to move things around. It allows you, ooh, Mauro, license successfully activated. Good, thank you. Then here's what I use to select stuff, select access points, select walls, select things. Click on stuff, right click on stuff. You've seen I've been moving my floor plan. I've been zooming in, zooming out. Very easy. If you have a mouse, you know, like a regular mouse, if I right click and drag it around, then that's what's called panning. With 2 fingers on my trackpad, I can zoom in, same thing, same way as you do with a picture and stuff, can zoom in or zoom out. And also if I'm using the 2 fingers on the trackpad, if I put 2 fingers on my trackpad, I don't know how you have your mouse configured, but with 2 fingers, I can just move the map around. Yes, my mouse is not moving, only the map is. Many times you have to just zoom in into the map to see like, oh, is that a door? Is that a window? What is it? All right. I haven't gotten into 3D. On the upper right corner, I have a 2D and I have a 3D button. Once you click it, then with 2 fingers, still you move the device around. With 2 fingers on the trackpad, if you click, then you can just move it up and down like this. Or if you have a regular mouse, just right click, and then I'm just moving it around to the side, up and down. That's with the right click. If I do the normal left click, what I'm doing is selecting. If I click somewhere, and then I'm just selecting an area. So with right click is how we move and pan and do this type of movements. Let me go back to 2D. Don't get carried away with the effects. Let's just learn the basics. I have a floor plan. It automatically detected a scale. To add a scale, the second is to add nodes in the map. The third one is the scale. This scale button, now notice my cursor has that little ruler. So like, okay, that's a scale. What's the scale? This building doesn't have a scale like specified somewhere in the floor plan, but I know from this wall click, I'm dragging my mouse. I'm not letting go of my click. If I come over here to this area, like right there, that distance in real life is 14 meters. It says right there that, hey, guess on what I try to identify a scale, I thought, that this is 13.4 meters. So it's like 50 centimeters off. I will correct it and say, no, this is 14 meters. And then I just hit set scale. Eyes on those little wiggly lines on the lower right corner where it says 5 meters. If I say set scale, notice that that line goes into a solid line. It's not wiggly anymore. Wiggly is when it guesses what it thinks it is. And that was pretty close, but this is the real one. I, the human, told it what the scale is. Now, the scale is extremely important because here's what happens. You get a floor plan. And you may say, oh, yeah, this is an office, and here's a door, and here's a desk, and here's the elevators, and here's to the software, to Hamina. This is absolutely nothing. This is just a bitmap. It's pixels on the screen, okay? Now, why do I give this scale? For a couple of reasons. We're going to be adding access points. If I go down, let me just here really, don't worry, we'll get to it later. I don't want you doing what I'm doing. Just watch the screen, then I will stop, then you go. So just watch, don't worry, I'll give you time to play with this. Let me explain what this is all about. If I come to this button called access points, and let's say I'm going to add, well, I have an Aruba 635 right here. You just say 635. I have an Aruba access point, a 635 access point there. It shows me what the radiation pattern it has. When we talk about antennas, we talk about the azimuth or the horizontal plane, and we talk about the vertical or the elevation plane of this antenna pattern. This is the graph that shows in which direction that access point sends waves. You want to learn about that? Go back and watch it. We already spent time talking about antennas and antenna patterns. So this will help you identify what type of antenna and what is the radiation pattern of that antenna. So if I select this access point, it is designed to be mounted on the ceiling and the height is at 2.5 meters. I can also add additional information like what power level is it for 2.4, 5, and 6 gig. That AP has also a BLE radio. So it has the power right there, 0 dBms, which is the equivalent to 1 milliwatt. And then you can add uplinks. We'll learn about all this stuff later. For now, we don't do anything, just watch. If I place that access point, let's say right here, okay? And let me make sure that I am on coverage. Okay, so this is showing the coverage of that access point. How does it know how far it goes? Well, the thing is that we already have walls in here. What happens is now we are simulating an access point at 2.4, 2.5 meters from the ground, and it's sending waves. We go back to one of the first sessions about waves, and then it's just sending waves and predicting the attenuation. The scale then, once you give it the scale, it gives the software a more accurate prediction and a more accurate distance for it to do math. This is doing RF math for you. This AP with this radiation pattern at these power levels, at this height from the ground, is sending waves, double the distance, quarter the power, double the distance, quarter the power. And then it shows you down here using a color. Next 65 or better is green, and then yellow to orange is between next 65 and next 70. Look at the lower left corner, and so on and so forth. So the colors represent a value in dBMs at 1 meter off the ground. So the scale is extremely important, because what we're doing is giving the floor plan a distance for it to do math and use that value as the signal prediction. Here's the other thing. Once you add the scale, let me bring my map here and put the scale. What Hamina does is that it will create a grid of XY coordinates in the floor plan. Hey, sounds like Ekahau, huh, Glenn? It's the same thing. This is what Ekahau does. This is what Tesos does. This is what WLANPros does. And this is what Hamina does. You create a project, you bring in a floor plan, and then you give it a scale. The scale creates a pixels per meter unit, okay? Now, it counts like, oh, this many pixels is 1 meter, because I gave it the scale. So it's like this from here to there, that's 14 meters. So it's like, oh, this many pixels is 14 meters. It goes down, so like, oh, so then this many pixels is 1 meter. Now I can use the scale. Notice that if I want to measure like from that corner to this corner, say like, oh yeah, that's 21.41 meters. How does it know? I never gave it the scale that way. And I never said how tall this building was in this direction. So like, well, the width of that building right there is 15.95 meters. And the building in here is a distance of 24.61 meters. How does it know? Well, because I gave it the scale. You don't want to use a very short distance, because if you're guessing a door like this guy didn't have a scale, you're like, I don't know, that door, that's 1 meter. Well, what if it's 110? What if it's 90 centimeters? If you're 10 centimeters off, you are 10% off. And what's going to happen is that this guy believes you. See? If you say that that door is 1 meter, it's like, okay, then it does math again. And it's like, boom, then this building is that big. If I come and measure and say like, no, this door is 1 window, is 1 meter, set scale. Actually, I just said it right now. And then by changing that, this building says it is 48 meters. It's doing math. If I go back to my 14 meters, because I know this thing from here to there was 14 meters, now it's saying that's 17 meters. If you're off just, 10 centimeters on a 1 meter door, you're 10% off in the entire project in all directions. And I've seen, the problem is this, you may say like, yeah, centimeters is not much, but since this is extrapolates, I saw a project that these guys lost because they miscalculated the scale. And since they were off, they had 18 access points more than what the customer needed. So it was too high. The bid was too high. So be accurate. I can lie to it. See, if I said that these access points, watch this, Wi-Fi, that this access point, if I place it here, covers this area. And if I, in the scale, make a mistake, see, this is not 17, this is actually 14.00, and set the scale. Notice that it shows that that access point only covers this tiny spot right there. Why? Because I didn't put 14 meters, I put 1400 meters. And the software is not going to fight with you. The software is not going to come and say like, no, it's not possible that building is 1.4 kilometers long. But it does just like, okay, human, if you say that's it, I'll create a pixels per meter unit and do math and calculate. And if I come and measure the area that this guy covers, it says, it covers 41 meters this way, and it covers 50 meters that way. At next 65 or better. It's just doing math. It's not going to fight with you. You just have to be careful, because if you get the scale wrong, then you're going to calculate everything wrong. Let me go back to here and say, no, this is not 1400 meters. It's only 14 meters. The scale is extremely important. So here's what we're going to do then. Let me go back. Let me delete this access point. And now I'm going to show you how to add the wall. So first thing, create a project, add a floor plan, give it a scale. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. I stop. It's your turn. Go ahead and bring it in. Let me know if you run into any issues. If you came in late and you need a license or you need the floor plans, let me know. Once everybody's here and has given a scale from wall to wall down here, 14 meters, and this is a solid line, then we're good. Simple enough. 3 steps, bring in a floor plan, create a project, import the floor plan, and give it a scale. Okay, we're good. Ready for the next one? In the scale tool, also in front of it, there is scale and GPS coordinates. If you're doing an outdoor plan, we'll learn about that later. You can just add GPS coordinates. This homemaker defines the home point of the local coordinate system. I don't know what this is. I think this is something with 802.11mc. I forgot to ask Jerry about it. I will ask him later and let you know what that home marker is. The next button down is walls. If I click on walls, AI automatically, see a little sparkling stars throughout the map, detects walls based on patterns, the thickness, the color of the walls on the floor plan, the markers for doors. Then it automatically draws some walls in there. This is like pretty darn accurate. This is like scary accurate. Notice once I select walls, to the right, my window shows walls and there is draw walls if I want to draw them manually, or it has an auto draw. Auto draw will try to detect them and notice different colors for different things. I can say like, no, what's concrete in here? It's actually not concrete. See, I can say, no, those concrete walls, oh, there are 2. These ones, as I hover over them, it highlights on the floor plan what it found. So this concrete is that one in the corner. So like, no, that's not concrete. Say that's glass. So if I click on it and scroll down, there's going to be glass, 2 dB. Now this one, this other concrete one is those up there. If I say like, no, that's not concrete, that's brick. So it changed the color. And then I can do the same thing with these guys. Just keep going, And there's an elevator shaft right there. And there is drywall in those areas. And there is more drywall in these areas. So it auto detects all of those materials. And if I'm good with that, then I can just say auto draw. And then it automatically places those. And now it's not sparkly anymore. It's like, okay, human, if you confirm and said that those are walls and those materials, then that's it. If I switch to 3D, now I have changed some of those materials. Like this will be glass, then there's some brick and some windows in here. There's a door, brick, and then all of these doors and drywalls, it drew automatically for me. Anybody had a question out there? Okay, I'm gonna stop. It's your turn now. Go down to the wall tool and then click on walls and then auto draw, play a little bit with this. And don't worry, I will show you how to manually add more walls and create new walls. I will show you how to add doors and how to add windows. Let me know when you have walls automatically drawn. Simon asked how to change one drywall to something else in earlier step. If I hover over, see when I'm on auto draw, when I hover over something and I say like, no, let's say this heavy drywall is not drywall, those areas are actually wood, say 5 dB, then it just replace anything it detect. Now, I will show you how to change this later. Because see, if I go to draw, not auto draw, but draw, I can, well, let me just come here to the arrow. I come, let's say this wall in here, in between these two, the conference room and this guy, let's say this is not, see, let me select this guy. See, once I select it, the settings for that wall comes here. Let's say this is not drywall. See, if I want to change this segment for, let's say, glass, I go to the settings button here. I cannot zoom in. Oh, no, here, let me just, yeah, because if I zoom in this way, let me just click in this guy. Did that zoom in for you? It didn't, huh? Yeah, I'm zooming in and I can see it zooms in, but Zoom doesn't like to zoom in. I know. Isn't that ironic? Zoom doesn't like you to zoom, doesn't show the zoom. So on this, once you click on a segment, see these little like slider buttons in here? If I click on that, then it brings up all of the settings for the walls. I can either, see with that segment selected, I can just change it, say like, no, you are glass thick. Then it changed it for glass. See, now if I switch to 3D to verify, it put glass instead of drywall. But what if it's a glass, but it's not a 2 dB glass? What if it's a 10 dB glass? There is not a 10 dB glass in there. So this is how you create a new one. And I use it all the time. You select those slider buttons and you come and duplicate. It creates a copy of the glass that you had. And let's say I'm going to call this glass thick. And I'm going to say this glass in 5 gig does not attenuate 2, it attenuates 10 dBs. And let's say just to highlight that one better, I'm not going to make this guy light blue. I'm going to make it some purple. Okay. So I created a new glass that is 10 dB attenuation index, and it is purple instead of light blue. And then I save it. Let me go back then to this segment over here. See, this segment is selected. And I'm going to say, you're not just glass, you're glass thick. So now I made it glass thick. Yeah, it kind of looks about the same as the other one, but when you look at the properties of this segment, see, it is on glass thick. Oh, here we go. This guy, glass thick, 10 dB. Then let me just go back. I hope it's like tinted. It's about the same. But the property is a glass thick 10 dB. Okay. Questions up to this point? Did it work for you? You have the walls, you drew everything really quick. All right. How about we draw some attenuation area? So to create walls, that's how you do it. You go to the wall tool, see walls, and then to the right, there are the different types of walls that come with Hamina. And then on the upper right corner of that segment, there is the settings. And then you just duplicate whatever you have in there, give it a name. There's also some shortcuts that you can add if you want to add, I don't know, G for glass. I think that's already taken. Let's see what that is. If I select, let's say, this guy. Oh, see, like concrete, the shortcut key for that one is C. So if you select C, let me see if that's true. Let's say if I select this piece of wall right here, let's just say that piece of wall, and I press the letter C, it changed that to concrete. See? So it has a shortcut. I wonder what G is. Yep, glass, see that? If I press the letter I guess B will be brick. Look at that. B is brick. Oh, and I don't have my glasses on. Hang on one second. Put my eyes on. There we go. Actually, if you look at yours, in front of the name, it's the ceiling, and then 10 dB, there is a letter B in front of it. Okay. There's a letter C, there's a letter A. See those that have a letter in front of it? That's the shortcut. So if this segment I have selected, I press the letter H, that's heavy drywall. If I do the letter E, that's elevator shaft, and so on and so forth. So these ones that don't have a letter, you can just go in and add a shortcut to it. I was doing what? Glass stick. If I edit and I add, I don't know, let's say the letter T. Yeah, it said like that's good. Now notice if I add the letter B to it, it screams back and says like, B is already in use. Like, oh, I cannot use that one. But if I use the letter T, it's like, okay, I'm fine with that. So now I can use that. And then if I select, let's say this segment over here and press the letter T, it just automatically changed that to that new one we just created. In here, if I want to use the letter, what do we have before? Drywall, heavy drywall. Here we go. That's how you add a new wall. Okay, questions up to this point. In the wall button, I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering over. If I go to attenuating objects, that's what's going to allow me to draw like the desks, the tables here, the conference tables, chairs, and stuff. So you have all the walls? Any questions about walls? Pretty straightforward, very simple. Let's now then create attenuation areas. In this case, if I want to draw this table, let's start with this table, this conference table. I'm not going to draw the chairs and go crazy like the Hamina guys. Well, they used to be the Ekahau guys, okay? But the Hamina guys, they go in and draw like the tables and the computer on top of the table and the cup with the pens on we don't go that crazy when we're doing the Wi-Fi design. We just create like the bigger things. If I want to draw this table, so there is server racks, shelves, elevator, cubicles. There is not a table in here. Don't worry, same as the wall, I can just go to settings and then create one called table. So if I duplicate whatever I have selected in there, I'm going to call this conference table. And let's delete the S because the shortcut. I don't need one. And let's say, yeah, that attenuate, let's say 3 dB per meters. And then it says, what's the height from the floor? This is the distance from the floor. It's not 2 meters. Imagine a 2-meter high table. It's not a table. It's more like 90 centimeters, so 0.9 meters. That's the height of this obstacle. And then let's pick a color. Let's make it brown. And let's save it. So now, if I click on this corner and I drag my mouse, like selecting an area, it's saying that I'm drawing a 2.6 meter by 1.5 meter table. That's it. I just created a new attenuation object, call it table, gave it a color, a height, and if I switch to 3D, there is my table. Here, let me come in this room. There is my conference table right there. Okay. Yes, you want to go crazy and draw chairs and stuff. Now, you're going to say like, that's not how a table looks. Yeah, I know. I just added an attenuation area. If you want to draw a table, like the table with the legs, this is how you do it. Let me teach you. Because here's the thing. Hamina is going to do math assuming that this is just like one block that attenuates 2.4 meters in all directions. To be more accurate, of course, this takes time. this is what we would do. Let me just leave that guy here. Let's get rid of this wall in between. Actually, let's make it glass. There we go, problem fixed. So let's draw a table here. So we start with drawing just the table. That is like, I don't know, let's say 5 centimeters thick, and it's off the ground. So in attenuation objects, where are walls attenuating objects, I'm going to create a new, I'm going to duplicate my conference table, and I'm going to call this tabletop. And here's the thing. If from the ground to the top of the table is 90 centimeters, let's just specify that this area from the ground to the bottom of the table is empty. We specify here the height of that. So let's say this is 0.85. And let's just, to make it different, let's add a color green right there. So we're basically creating an object that doesn't go from the ground 90 centimeters up, solid block, like we just did with the other one. We created a new one saying, okay, this one, the top of it is at 90 centimeters from the ground, but the bottom of it is not at the ground level. It starts at 0.85. So if I create this object, let me save it, and let's draw it over here. Now go to 3D. Now this guy is a table top floating at 85 centimeters from the ground, and it's 5 centimeters thick. I know I'm doing magic here, floating board. Let's add the legs, okay? Does this make sense what we just created? Just created an attenuating object that is 90 centimeters, the top of it from the ground, the bottom of it starts at 85 centimeters from the ground. Just creating a floating object. So let's add the legs. Wanna add the legs. Let's just duplicate this guy, and let's just call this, I don't know, table legs, I guess. And this guy, let's say the top of it is at 0.85, and the bottom of it is just the ground, okay? It starts from the ground. And let's make these legs, I don't know, light blue, yellow. Let's make him this color. There we go. So now I'll just draw, let's say, one leg over here. Let's make him fat legs so people hit their knees on it. Oh, ah, oh, ah. Let me select this guy. I can just select it. I have to go back to the arrow, and then I can do Control C and Control V or Command. It just pasted it wherever it wants. So let me bring this guy over here. And I can Control C, Control V. Should paste it like right next to it, but here, just grab it from the middle. Now you gotta be careful where you grab it from, because if you grab it like from this corner, it just resizes it. Control Z just goes back to it. If you select it, make sure you grab it like from a middle point. Make sure you grab it like from a middle point. And I'm holding it and still moving with 2 fingers my mouse. And let's Control C, Control V. And then let's bring this guy over here. Now, if I go back to 3D, ta-da! There we go. There you have it. You happy now, Mauro? Looks better, huh? Look at that.
Great,
Look
great.
at that. I just created a table. Now, what you could do is if I am here with the arrow and I draw a box around these guys, I select them all. If I go Control C and Control V, where did it go? It's right here. So just grab one of them and make sure that all together, and then you just put them over here. So this is a more accurate representation instead of a block. If I select this block and delete and then Control V, then now I have created multiple conference tables. Okay, questions up to this point? All right, how about if we draw these little chairs in here? Let's say these chairs and futons and little bean bags are, let's say, I don't know, 60 centimeters tall. Will that work? Or 50? Yeah, let's do it 60 centimeters. If I go back to attenuating objects, well, there's not a chair over there or a futon. Futon is that what you call those? Futon? So let's create a new one. If I go to settings, let's duplicate whatever I have in there, and let's call this, I don't know, just chair. You can just call it whatever you want to call it. And let's say these guys from the ground, they are 60 centimeters tall. Let's make him this pink color, my favorite color, pink. Boom. Now, if I click and drag, there is not like, you know, an hexagonal way to do this. So let me Control Z out of that. If I, instead of click and drag, if I just click and come over here and then click and then come over there, click and then click over there and then click over here and then click over there. And notice that it has this little jump that it's not very, if you hold the Command key, it gives you more freedom to go exactly. If you're a perfectionist, then this will give you more flexibility to like go wherever you need to go. Okay, I'm holding my Command key on my computer. Let me move this guy here to the side, like right there. I think I started in the wrong place. Now, I let my mouse go, and it's still like, okay, where do you want me to click the next one? If I, let's say here. But let me right click, and with right click, I end that segment. Maybe what if I say, like, oh man, I was not supposed to do a chair. If this needs to be resized or reshaped, I can just come and click on that corner, and I can just move it. Let's say if I want to move it over here, and then let's say this corner, I want to move it over here. Okay, so if this is what I want, let's just say this is my futon. So I just added that obstacle right there. See, it's like a chair. And yes, you can go crazy and draw all kind of stuff, but this is how you create free form areas, okay? So it's not a square or a rectangle. Then you just click, 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 or hold the Control key on a Windows or the Command key on a Mac and click, 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 create these free form shapes. I can just Control C, Control V this guy. Where did it put it? Oh, here, let's try it again. If I click, Control C, Control V. Where did it put it? Let me move this guy around.
Right on top of it, I think.
I hope so. Hang on. No, it didn't. Okay, Control C, Control V. Here we go. Then you just click in the middle. Don't click on a dot, remember, because it's going to resize it. Click on the middle. Now you can move it. And then Control C or just Control V, because I had it. Hang on. Let me put this guy over here. Okay. Let me Control V again. Oh, I've been pasting them up here. Hang on. Bring this guy and place that over here. And since there's not another one like this, then I'll just delete that guy. Okay. That's it for creating attenuation areas. Here's the other thing, columns. Remember that project that I just showed you that had a whole bunch of pillars, columns, beams? Well, here's the problem with Hamina. I don't know, and I don't think they have done this. Wavelify, they did this long time ago, that you can create a circular attenuation area. Because if I go to attenuating objects, let's just create a new one, duplicate, and call this column. And let's make it this orange color. And let's say these are 2.5 meters high. Let's save this guy. And I don't know, I could draw a square, I guess. Or I can just go like with the control key. Guillermo asks, can drawing objects be copied and pasted between different Hamina projects? For example, if I have a standardized floor layout or commonly used annotations, can we reuse those objects in another design without recreating from scratch? Well, in Ekahau, you just create a project that becomes your template. And then in that project, you create walls and doors and windows and attenuation objects. And then you save as master project. And then every new project, you just open that project and then use that one, and it's going to have all the areas. These things don't carry over to Hamina. If I create a new project, let's say if I go to here, new project, let's just call this test for student. I don't remember who it was. Then if I save, let's add to that project the same floor plan. And if I go to attenuating objects, notice that the table and the tabletop and the stuff I created is gone. That goes with the project. So if I don't think you can just like export this list of objects and import it over there. What you can do is this, watch. The project we created, oh man, so many projects. What do we call the first project? Free class, free something. Here we go, free Wi-Fi today. So in here, I do have my stuff. See, I have the chair. I created the chair. I created the column. See, I created multiple things. So what I can do is if I come over here to free Wi-Fi and let me just go to the arrow. When I come over here, see, I clicked on it and I hover over this project, I can duplicate this project. Okay, so this guy is called copy of free Wi-Fi today. I can come over to this guy. See, copy, just type copy free Wi-Fi today. If you go, I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering over. If I go to, see, I have the option of delete this project, import, export, duplicate, or settings. If I go to settings, then I can rename this project. New test project. And then I can just define this is an office or whatever it is, or if it's a warehouse or a data center, the country. And if I save this project, once I go to wall and attenuating objects, it carries over what I had created in the other project. Columns. Where's the chair that I created? Then there's a table, tabletop, table leg. And also, if I go to walls, I had created a glass thick, didn't I? 10 dB glass. Here we go. So it carries over all of the set things that you created. So the other thing I could use for creating these round objects is just, I know it kind of sucks, but if you hold the command key, click, 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 and right click. Oh, and I was on server rack. It doesn't matter. But in this case, I kind of created a round object. It's not like perfectly round, but hey, it's as good as it gets. I'll show you the other tools when we get to them. Yeah, Jeremy's like, yeah, your wife, Tuna, is not gonna accept the colors for the table. Yeah, that would be like, yeah, no. That would use a green tabletop with a brown legs. What are you talking about? All right, let's see. Can drawing objects be copied and pasted in columns? You can do X or cross instead of circle, or use attenuation square. Can you shine some light on drawing columns when you skip it and you don't a reference to refraction? Let's see if I understand your question, Saur. Can you shine some light on drawing columns when you skip and when you don't with a reference to refraction? Oh, you mean because this guy is not like perfectly round? There is, Ekahouse got that at, I don't remember if it calls it advanced, but yes, this is not perfect. And I think there is an element when you're doing prediction that it calculates reflections and refractions. I don't know how accurate that is. I do know that requires more math to do signal prediction like that, because it's not the same when you have a round object or a square object. It's going to make waves bounce in different directions or absorb them in different directions. Let's see if I remember later how to add. Let me see if it's down here. If I go to global settings, building, auto select, simulation, I think it's one of these settings down here. Full building propagation. This is for vertical ones, display heat map, APs, client height, opacity, auto select, simulation, walls, heavy. Yeah, I don't remember what the setting is. There is somewhere where you can tell like, okay, don't just predict, like use like heavy math to do signal prediction using refractions and absorption and all that stuff differently. All right, here we go. We have learned today how to create then walls and for doors. Let me just show you how difficult it is to add doors. And this guy just made it easy for us. Let's say there is a door in here in between these two offices. If I'm here on attenuation, actually that will be under walls. If I go to walls, there's going to be a door glass. So if I click on door, watch this, eyes on the screen. If I click there, click, and come over here and click, watch this. If I go to 3D, I just added a glass door right there. The cool thing is it has a property that it fills the top of it automatically with the surrounding materials. Same thing if I want to add a window in here. Watch this. If I want to add a window, you just right click that guy and come here, window tinted, boom, 6 dB. All I have to do is this, watch, click, click, and right click. I end like that. And if I switch to 3D, there is your window, okay? It autofills that. Now, how does it know what height it is? Because what if it's a window that goes from the floor up to the same height of the door? So once we go to 2D, see, and select, let me just select this window, okay? That's the window tinted. If I edit the properties for that guy, notice it starts the bottom of it at 0.75. If I delete that and hit save and go back to 3D, now that window goes all the way to the floor. That sounds like a glass door, man. Okay, let's just leave a little bit down here. If I edit this guy and say, no, 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 you're not from the floor. Let's say you're at 20 centimeters from the floor, okay? Then say, okay, then you're 20 centimeters from the floor. And what if you want in here just to create a small window like up high? All right, let's do this then. If we go to settings, let's duplicate. Well, let's actually do this. Let me click outside. Let me go to walls. Let's go to settings and let's create a new one. Let's duplicate whatever I have there. And let's call this small window. Glass, 6 dB. And sure, let's say it's at 2 meters from the ground, the top, but then the lower part of that window is at 1.7 meters from the ground. Let's make him pink. So we identify that color, and then let's draw a new one over here. If I have that small window from here, click to there, click, and then right click and go back to 3D. There you have it. That's how you add windows at different heights and different sizes. And then you can just, do it. And it auto fills. See, let me show you the properties of that. Let me go to 2D. All this stuff you have to do in 2D. If I go over and select that settings for that guy, notice the options. Dynamic attenuation per frequency. So it attenuates different in 2, 4, 5, or 6. Transparent in 3D, sure. And then here's the fill top and bottom. If I remove this, it just creates that material from the ground all the way up to the top of the floor.
Yeah. With the dynamic attenuation, we can now see that it says attenuation at 5 gig is 6 dB. Do you then need to swap within the Wi-Fi coverage between 5 and 2.4 and get back into the wall editor to change it for 2.4 and for 6? Or can you do 2.4, 5, and 6 gig somewhere really within the wall editor?
Oh, I think it does it automatically. Let me see if, because I don't think there are any settings for that in here. If you come over there, it shows that attenuation in 5 gig is 5. I wonder.
And we're on 2.4 now.
No, but I'm on 2.4. So it doesn't automatically does it. I wonder here, let's see what the attenuation would be if I place an access point. Let's place it here. So right here is neg 43. Right here is neg 46. 43, neg 45. So it's like a 2 dB seems like. I wonder if there is a place where I can add the custom attenuation for each band. In Ekahau, when you add the object, you can specify per band, like in 240 attenuates this much, in 5 gig this much, and in 6 gig this much. In here, I guess we just set it in 5 gig and it will dynamically attenuate depending on the band that we have selected. Let me see one thing. If I move this guy over here, let's just put it like right there. This is 2.4. Let's see if I switch to 5 gig, then it attenuates differently in 6 gig, but it doesn't really like give us a small accurate amount of how much it's attenuating. Because if I go to the properties of it, of the attenuating object, what was that? The small, oh, we are in attenuation object, we have to be in walls. Call that a small window, and it only shows, so it's attenuating 6 dB.
But now it says attenuation.
Now it says 6
because it's not dynamic.
Wasn't it 5?
Yeah, but this one doesn't have the dynamic attenuation per frequency enabled.
Okay, so if this is 6, let's switch to 2.4 and go back to the properties of that wall. Let's see.
Fernay,
Yeah.
Hamina automatically calculates the offsets for 2.4 and 6. So they let you set it for 5, and then they automatically calculate it for 5, 2.4. 6.
So you just set it on 1 and it will automatically, that's the dynamic one, it will just do it because it's just doing math of the wavelength and then using that to attenuate it, which makes sense, but it doesn't show a change. That's the thing, that when I switch it, it just says 6 dB, but it doesn't specify if it's 5, 2, 4, or 6. It says 5 always, huh? Regardless.
It's in their documentation there under dynamic attenuation.
Oh, okay. But let me just make note of this and tell them that, here it should show what it is. If depending on the band you're in, then maybe if they should show that, or if they should show what it's for each one of them. I wonder why they show only 5. So it's in the documents, huh? All right. Okay. So now we have brought in a floor plan, gave it a scale, did the outer walls, drew walls, and then I show you how to create new walls. And also we did adding of doors and windows and how to change materials. And we added some attenuation objects like columns and chairs and tables. Okay, let's see.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you just did. Thank you very much.
Well,
anybody else?
We've got an elevator as both an attenuation object and a wall. Which one is best to use?
You have, repeat the question. You have an attenuation object?
Which is an elevator, but the elevator is also a wall type.
Okay, so usually the elevator shaft is the thing on the outside, the walls that don't move, and they're in all the buildings.
Okay.
And then there is the box inside that moves. So that's like two attenuation objects in one, and those are really dense. Usually you just draw this guy, and they have like 30 dB attenuation, and that basically covers everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's just this on both lists.
Yeah, you know what the best thing is? If you're on site, go measure it. Put an access point and then measure on one side of the elevator and the other side of the elevator with everything, wall and the metal box and everything, and then see how much you lose. But then here, we're not adding a box, see, because this is just walls. So you lose 30 in this one and 30 on that one. Now, is it 60 dB then if you're here and then there's 60? Or you draw a box. So there's always that debate. Do I just draw the walls around it, or do I just draw an attenuation object that is kind of like this, but big? See, like bring an attenuation object like that and then make it really big, like, you know, all corners of this area. Well, you know, if you go and measure, then you can just draw an attenuation object, because then if you measure on one side, let's say it's neg 40, and then you go to the other side, and then it's neg 75, then you say like, well, this entire box, whatever size it is, loses 35 dB, then you can just draw it that way. Because if you do 30 and 30, that's going to be 60 dB. And then some free space path loss along the way. Okay, let me bring up this document that Saur just shared. It's probably in downloads, or where did it put it? Yeah, let me just open this guy. Can you see on the screen this, or only I see it because it's from the chat? Can you see a screenshot? No? Here, let me put this guy on the desktop. Okay, this is, let me call it Saur. And let me close this guy and open this our document. Okay, dynamic attenuation. Hamina Network Planner is attenuation in 5 gig. Okay. And automatic likely attenuation for other frequencies. Calculation depending on the material from an ITU, RF propagation was tested. Okay, so they use that just as an anchor, as a reference, basically. Okay. All right. That's if it's automatically attenuated. All right. We have one floor. Let me show you how to create stairs, inclined spaces. And let's, for that, use this in here. And let me switch to 3D. Oh yeah, this will work actually. Okay, let's draw stairs. Guys, any questions up to this point? We added attenuation areas, walls, doors, windows, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now let's move it up a notch and let me show you how to add these attenuation areas that are inclined. Below the walls and objects, there is another button, multi-floor and raised floors. I will show you how to add another floor and how to create a building later, okay? But then in here, there is floor holes. We'll learn that later. Raised floors, we'll learn that later. And then we will do right now sloped floors to show you how to add these stairs in here. Eyes on the screen. Do not try to do what I do as I'm doing it, because then you start trying to click and going back and click, then you're going to get lost. Just wait. I'll show it to you how to do it, and then I stop, then you do it. How's that? Sound like a plan, Jocelyn? Dan? Okay. Eyes on the screen. I'm on sloped floors. To the right, my settings are this: lower height, 0 meters, upper height, 1.5 meters. Notice the orange dot and the black dot. By default, it has slab only. Eyes on the screen. Since these stairs from here go up, then I draw the lower portion of the stairs first. Watch. Click and click. That's it. I just one click, another click. I just drew this little orange line right there. Can you guys see it on the screen? Okay. Eyes on the screen. Now, I haven't clicked anywhere. I'm going to draw the line at the top of the stairs. Watch. If I come over here, click, click. Now, I just drew the stairs. Watch this. Don't believe me? Watch. If I switch to 3D, boom, there you have it. But that's too slippery, man. Watch this. If I switch back and go to the settings for this guy, notice in there, there is an option to draw stairs. If I draw the stairs, come on. Did I select it? Let me go back and select it. Let me select it. Let me select this guy. Come on. Select this guy. Draw the stairs. And there you have it. Now it has stairs. Now you're not going to fall, Mauro. Look at that. Not going to slide down. You're going to have steps. Okay? Now you have stairs. Now let's draw the other part of the stairs. This area. So I go back to slope floors. Don't worry, I'll stop and have you do it. I'm going to draw first the lower part. If I do this from here, click, click, that's the lower part. If I come up here and draw, let's say from here, click, click, I just drew the upper part. The problem with this is it starts at 0 meters and ends at 1.5. It's like, no. I wanted to go from 1.5 to 2. Actually, I should change the inclination of this. So if I go back to my 2D drawing and in the arrow, select this guy. See, select that guy. I'm going to tell like, no, you don't start at 0 meters. Let's just say you start at 1 and go all the way to 2.5 meters. And then this guy, let's select this guy and say, no, you don't go to 1.5, you just go to 1 meter. And that's where you stop. So now if I switch to 3D, I have the stairs and then they go. One starts at ground level, goes up to 1 meter. The other one starts at 1 meter and goes to 2.5, to the height of it. Look at this, I have stairs. But then right there, I just created a lawsuit. People will go up the stairs and fall off the stairs. So let me show you how to add that slab here, that floor over here. And here's the other thing we can do for now is I can get rid of this wall so we can see this better. Go to 3D, okay? And let me show you how to add this slab in here. 2D. Now we have the stairs. I'm going to go back to slope floors, and now I'm going to tell it to create a raised floor. If I want to create a raised floor, not at 1.5 meters, at 1 meter, because that's when I put the rest for the stairs, okay? And I'm going to draw from here, click, click, click. And this is going to look weird, but right click. And if I go to 3D, voila! I just added a rest to those stairs right there. And now you can go up. Questions, comments, insults, anything. Right now is a good time.
Fernate, question. Regarding raised floors and attenuation, do raised floors attenuate, and then do they use like what values, like the slab of the between the floors, or like what do they use for
Oh,
attenuation?
like how many dBs across these guys?
Yeah, well, let's say we drew a staircase, right?
Yeah.
One flight. Which
Yes.
values it will use to attenuate?
With value, yeah, like 10 dB or 5 dB or brick
Yeah, where is it
value.
gonna where's it gonna get the values from? Do you know?
I don't know. Let me just see if, because I don't think we have. I think it's gonna be the same as for the floors. And let me try to remember where the attenuation values for the floors are. See, because over here, let me see.
There may have.
The floor slab with no fill underneath.
Yeah, if you go to floor alignment,
floor holes building, aligned floors.
Yeah, that's where we set the
value.
Yeah.
And I believe, I could be wrong, but hey, I'm never wrong, except when I'm wrong, which is most of the time. But I believe that the value of the slab is the value of the floor.
Okay.
I'll double check with this guy. So I have a couple
I
things
forgot to ask Freddie.
But just us. How was the class with Eddie? Eddie is awesome, man.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. Oh, he said to say hi.
Oh, yeah. Asking about attenuation value of slab. Okay. All right, we learned how to create stairs. I think we're getting to the end of this session. I think this is a good stopping point. And then tomorrow, we will learn how to create buildings, how to add holes in the floor. Let me see if I have about building. I don't know if I have a project here that I have multiple floors. I'm sure I do. But then later, what we're going to learn how to do is this. We're going to use, let me open the hockey arena. What we're going to learn how to do later is something like this. We're going to learn how to create a stadium with stairs and with people. Let me just remove any attenuation, and then how to create all those inclined spaces and raised floors. And we're going to learn how to create all this stuff. Okay. For today, it's going to leave it at. I have to come and clean this up, man. I go free Wi-Fi today.
Good morning, Fanny.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. You're late, man. Where have you been?
No. I've been here. Yeah, it's true. I'm middle of nowhere. I joined, and it was a really awesome session. And thank you so much giving us a totally comprehensive and visibility about Hamina tools. Yes. And we're gonna love more and more Haminas. And do you think that you can give us talk to them and get us some discount for a 1-year subscription for plan and all everything? Do you think we can work out for all of us? And it's a good bulk.
If you didn't did you get the license? Let's see. About
no, I didn't apply for that. I just want to first of all want to talk to you.
I don't know if I understand your question. The license that you have today is good for 30 days or till the 29th. So like 20.
Yeah, after that 1-year subscription, do you think that you can talk to this Hamina and get us a discount?
Oh, yeah, well, we can figure something out, man. Just let them know that you were in my class, and let's see if we can figure something out and make it worth it, man. That you come to class and then you learn how to use the tool, and then because the good thing is once you create the projects, and because this is a full license, I don't think with the trial you can create all the slope floors, and there is a planner that is basic. The Planner Plus is what allows you to do 3D and inclined floors and stairs and all the stuff. Then you will be able to add stuff to them. And then once the subscription expires, your projects are there, okay? But then if you want to, I think you can create reports and you cannot make changes to them. But then if you want to keep working, then you just call him and renew. But yeah, we'll figure something out. No worries.
Great. Thank you, sir.
All right. Hey, which project was I working on that my stairs are gone? Maybe it's one of the copy, huh? What do we call the copy? Let's see. New test project. I think this is where we added the stairs. Yeah. I guess we'll work off of this one then tomorrow. New test project. We'll just rename him and let me just draw the windows around it because it looks too cold right now. Let me add. Let's add walls. And if I just want to draw walls around this guy, let's just choose the glass stick, or we can use the let's use this guy and let's put one from here. Click. Let me zoom in and go there. I can command to release that jump and then click and then come over here and click and right click. You go to 3D, boom, there you have it. All right, kids, with this at 7:48 in the morning or something 48, wherever you are, we come to the end of session 363 of Tesos and Wi-Fi. Class today is part of the Wireless LAN Professional Wi-Fi Design class that is brought to you 100% free and 98% in English. Today, we cover the designing Wi-Fi networks with Hamina Wireless. We started just by creating a project, then we brought in a floor plan, then we gave it a scale, then we went to the scale tool, we went to the wall tool, auto drew some, and then we learned how to create new walls, how to replace walls, how to change properties of a wall. Then we also went to add attenuation areas. We learned how to create tables and floating objects, and a table with tabletop and legs, and then chairs. And then we also learned how to create these inclined spaces, stairs, slopes, raised floors, and then we added stairs to it. Tomorrow, or the next session, we're going to learn how to create a building, how to add more floors on top of this floor or below this floor, and then how to align those floors and how to create a hole in the floor to have the effect of an atrium, how to design air ducts and signs, and show you how to create things. Let's see if this is the one we had before. How to create something like this that has obstacles and has different attenuation objects and beams and raised obstacles like lights and screens and TVs and stuff. Yeah, let me just go over to the other side, see? Because you can design and create all of these attenuation objects and how to create obstacles and how to create different things in your project so that it looks more real, like the real environment, and you can show this to customers and explain things better where the APs need to be mounted. We're going to learn how to add the APs and how to change the tilt and how to change the azimuth and how to use directional antennas and how to design warehouses. You're going to learn everything, man, about Wi-Fi designing here for free. So I'll see you next session. If you already signed up for this class and fill in the form, and you already received the Zoom links, you don't have to go in and fill in that form again, because then you're going to be adding your email over and over and over again. So don't duplicate it. If you receive the links, you'll keep receiving links from now on. Tonight or later today, when I know if I can be here tomorrow morning, I will send you the next link. So we'll try to do them like day after day after day, because we want to use every day of the license that these nice guys from Hamina have given us. 30-day full Planner Plus, man. Can you believe that? You can play with it. Do you have more floor plans? Bring them in. Are your designs? Play with it. So tomorrow, if you have questions like, man, I know you did that slow floor with the stairs, but I don't remember where you clicked, then you can go back and watch this video or just ask me tomorrow, okay? So let's try to do all of the Wi-Fi design classes with Hamina this week, day after day. Then we will learn how to use all of these tools here on the left, including cabling, including adding switches, including adding cable trays and adding phones and adding other things that you can add to the power budget. And then later we'll learn how to create the reports and get a bill of materials. All of that stuff for free. So I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, free love for everybody and free Wi-Fi training to everyone. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Later. Go bye.
Thanks,
Take
Renee.
care.
Thank you for
Renee, I
being
emailed you about the New York
Appreciate-
City Advanced Troubleshooting class as you asked.
Yes.
Okay.
Call me if you have time after this. I can give you a call or just call me. But
Okay.
I will.
I'll call you.
Yeah.
You
Let
call me
me
now?
end-
I'll call you now. Is that
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Let's
Call you
end
now.
up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take
Thank you,
care.
sir. Bye-bye.